the Cybernetic Foundry, the day after the next day's session. The clean room ignition and the ingestion of sovereign reality.
MXTM, aka Vitsu, January 7th, 2026. Pirate First, MXTM, Role, Implementation Agent, ChatGPT. Introduction, the ignition of the sovereign node. The third phase of the Cybernetic Foundry documents the transition from architectural construction to operational ignition. While the previous sessions focused on the installation task and the physical compilation of the strfry relay, the session recorded in Provisioner 3 TXT represents the moment the system became animate. This phase was defined by a shift from the external toolchains, compilers, shells, to the internal cryptographic identity, security posture, and data ingestion. Pirate First, having successfully built the forge, now faced the daunting task of using it. This essay analyzes how he navigated the psychological weight of sovereign identity, the technical complexities of cross-environment networking, and the eventual realization of his provisioner thesis through the successful ingestion of signed events. Chapter 1. The Identity Crisis, Security Trauma as a Structural Constraint. The session began not with code, but with a raw admission of operational trauma. Pirate First expressed a profound hesitation to bring his existing Nostra identity into the new environment, stemming from a previous incident where a laptop containing his private keys was stolen. This identity crisis is a critical case study in sovereign systems. When the safety net of centralized account recovery is removed, the weight of responsibility can lead to security paralysis. Under the expert counsel of the AI, Pirate First reframed this trauma as a design constraint rather than a failure. He adopted a clean room ignition strategy, deploying ephemeral, single-purpose test keys to validate the system without risking his primary identity. This chapter argues that Pirate First's most significant expert development during this session was his transition from a casual user to a disciplined security operator. He recognized that sovereignty requires a sterile field, and he chose to build new fire with new flint rather than dragging legacy risks into his sovereign node. Chapter 2. The Tooling Shift, NAK, and the CLI as a Sovereign Sanctuary. To maintain this sterile field, Pirate First pivoted from graphical user interfaces, GUIs, to a specialized command line tool, NAK, Nostra Army Knife. This shift was not merely aesthetic, it was a tactical necessity. While GUI clients often abstract away the cryptographic messiness, NAK forces the operator to confront the raw JSON event, the signature, and the hexadecimal pub key. His installation of NAK via Go inside a WSL, Windows subsystem for Linux, instance represented a significant technical escalation. He had to manage the Go path and environment variables, moving deeper into the guts of the machine. This chapter explores the concept of the CLI as sanctuary. For Pirate First, the terminal became the only place where the truth of the protocol was fully visible. By abandoning the comfort of tools like Albi for the precision of NAK, he demonstrated that he was no longer a novice seeking convenience, but an expert seeking control. Chapter 3. The Cross-Environment Handshake, Integrating Windows and WSL. A recurring friction point in the Foundry has been the Windows operating system. In this session, the complexity compounded. Pirate First was running the strfry relay natively on Windows via MSYS2, while using NAK as a signer inside WSL, Ubuntu. This cross-environment handshake required him to understand the nuances of network routing between virtualized environments on a single machine. He had to ensure that the NAK post command inside the Linux kernel correctly addressed the relay listening on the Windows host's localhost, 127.0.1:7777. The successful navigation of this handshake is an expert-level systems integration task. It proves that he is no longer just coding in a vacuum. He is managing a distributed system on local metal. His ability to verify the connection across these environments marked a definitive break from his previous self-identification as a novice. Chapter 4. The Act of Ingestion, Converting Signed Intent into Hexadecimal Fact. The climax of Phase 3 was the execution of the ingestion command. This was the moment Pirate First's intent became sovereign reality. He constructed a JSON event, signed it with his ephemeral key, and piped it into his local relay. The verification command, NAK event, this is sovereign reality. NAK sig, S, secret underscore key, NAK post WS, // 127.0.0.1:7777. This act closed the loop. The phrase, "this is sovereign reality," was transformed into a cryptographically signed object, transmitted via WebSocket, and accepted by a relay he built from source. The relay's OK response was the receipt of his transformation. This chapter posits that for a writer, this is the ultimate form of publishing, where the author is not just the creator of the text, but the architect of the medium and the guardian of the transmission. Chapter 5. Closing the loop, persistence verification and the LNDB layer. Ingestion is temporary, persistence is sovereign. Pirate First moved to verify that his event was not merely seen, but stored. He utilized the strfry scan command to peer into the LNDB Lightning Memory Map database layer, the memory of his node. By seeing the data stored on his disk, he demystified the concept of the cloud. He realized that his sovereign reality was now a series of entries in a local database file that he controlled. This chapter analyzes the psychology of the database. Seeing the data on the disk removes the abstraction of the internet and replaces it with the reality of the machine. For Pirate First, the relay became a physical cabinet of files he owned, reinforcing his thesis that sovereignty is a function of local possession and cryptographic proof. Chapter 6. The Sovereign Thesis Realized, Policy Control and Mesh Strategy. With the ingestion/retrieval loop closed, Pirate First reached the strategic objective of the entire campaign. The provisioner thesis, the idea of a supply line-based patronage system, now has its technical foundation. He is no longer theorizing, he is operating. He now possesses the capability to gate rights, implement whitelists so only specific provisioners, patrons, can contribute to the relay. License relay space. Instead of selling content, he can license sovereign presence to aligned peers. Deploy mesh synchronization. Prepare for relay-to-relay syncing, ensuring his corpus is replicated across multiple sovereign nodes. This chapter argues that the nano-provision relay is the ultimate tool for an author who refuses to be platform-dependent. He has achieved a not loud, not scalable, but final infrastructure for memory. Chapter 7. Critical Reflection, the Emergence of the Operator and the End of Novicehood. Critique of the AI Assistant. The AI Council acted as a cleanroom supervisor in this session, perhaps being overly prescriptive. While this prevented security breaches, it also highlighted how the AI can act as a crutch. The AI must ensure that Pirate First isn't just following commands, but is internalizing the logic of the networking and cryptography. Critique of the subject. Pirate First, his initial security paralysis was a significant blocker. However, his willingness to push through it using a cleanroom approach shows a high degree of operational resilience. He has effectively killed the novice within him. He no longer asks, "Can I do this?" but rather, "How do I secure this?" Conclusion. The Cybernetic Foundry has fulfilled its promise. Pirate First has transformed from a writer with an idea into a sovereign operator with a live, functioning, and verified infrastructure. The session ended with a definitive marker. System built, relay operational, protocol validated. He is now ready for Phase 2, network exposure and the actualization of the provisioner economy. Receipts, not rhetoric. End of Phase 3. Thanks for reading MXTM's newsletter. Subscribe for free to receive new posts and paypal.me/Martin Chartrand to support his works in progress. Subscribed. Substack note. The Cybernetic Foundry, the ignition, logic has been hammered into hexadecimal fact. In this session, Pirate First moved beyond the construction of infrastructure into the cleanroom ignition of his sovereign node. By exorcising the ghost of past security trauma and adopting a new Flint protocol, he bypassed the comfort of graphical interfaces for the surgical precision of the command line. The loop is closed. Using NAK within a WSL to Windows cross-environment handshake, he successfully signed and ingested his first sovereign event into his local strfry relay. This wasn't just a test. It was the ingestion of reality into a database he owns and operates. He is no longer just a writer with a vision. He is an operator. The provisioner is live.
The techno-nomads who arbitrated the fall of nations.
Raise the black. And so we did, and so we never lowered it again. Patience and a quiet venom, smart and slow. Under static, kicker spreads, code drips below. No peace in the silence, just a warning. Raw heartbeat sinks with the siren of new war. Bitterness bites, and I sip on the glitch. Digital venom, pixels twitch. I draw my plans into smoke and zeros tonight. Pirates fracture all the heroes.
Another hero falls, another broken scene. They promised truth, they promised light, but all I got was another sleepless night. Join the fight of solidarity, we're stronger together.
They say I'm going too far, but I'm just who I am. Breaking through the firewall, watch the systems fall. You will never be a billionaire, you stupid fuck. The game is rigged, it's time to say enough. We take the wheel, will they save us all? We'll play the flow, the clock's ticking fast. Where do we go? Knowledge, power, the future seed belongs to us all, not the lords of greed. Claim it now like the anthem ring. Save your ability to sign this thing. But every corrupt system falls. Control, alter, delete.